The last book I read was The Paris Apartment by Lucy Foley, and I read this on March 22nd. Today is April 22nd, so it's been a month. You know, I would love to blame my reading slump on The People in the Trees by Hanya Yagihara, which admittedly did kind of start it, but if I'm honest with myself, April has been kind of a busy month, but this weekend I finally have some time set aside to, you know, take a breather and just read, which I've been really missing a lot in my life. So I mentioned The Paris Apartment, and this was the last book that I finished, you know, in its entirety, but I have been reading bits and pieces throughout this month, and the book that I was working on was The Golden Couple by Greer Hendricks and Sarah Pekkanen. This follows a couple who's going through marital issues, and they go see a therapist who has pretty unconventional methods. I'm how much? A third of the way at chapter 15. So far, it's a bit slow build, suspenseful. You're uncovering secrets that everyone in this trio is hiding, and the therapist is especially good at digging out all of the things that these couples aren't saying. It's a bit intense in that kind of cheesy way, which I don't necessarily hate. It's a good time, and I think I can definitely sink into this book now. And I also wanted to indulge this weekend and kind of reread something really familiar, so I am going to reread the Hidden Legacy trilogy, the original one. So Burn for Me, White Hot, and Wildfire. This is an urban fantasy trilogy, and it's set in a world where certain people in different houses have powers that are passed down, and it follows our main character, who is a private investigator. It's been quite a few years since I read this series, so if I'm going to be honest, I really don't remember a lot of the detailed plot points or even the characters, to be quite honest, but I do remember that it was a grand old time being in this world, and if I get through all of these three, I have the two other continuations in the Sapphire Blank part of the Hidden Legacy series, so I can also tackle those. This is what I'll be trying for this weekend. Hope you come along with me on the ride.
Curious little buddy? I'll be spending it with this little boy.
So I'm on my lunch break right now, and that's because I have quite a few meetings lined up for the afternoon. Working from home has definitely been really nice because of the flexibility and the kind of comfort in being able to, you know, work 2 inches from my bed. And I might even start reading on my lunch break. It's definitely been a while since I've done that, but that sounds really nice right now. I'm done with work for the week, and also done with a few of the around the house stuff that I needed to get to. So I'm going to get into something a little comfier and start reading. And now we're in comfy gear.
Oh, Hachi. Oh, my baby. So cute, isn't he?
Anyways, the tentative plan for tonight, I'm gonna pick up groceries, make myself a nice dinner, and then read The Golden Couple first. And for dinner, we have what Tasty likes to call Tuscan chicken. I'm not sure how related to Tuscany it is, but there it is. Chicken thigh with a creamy sauce. I think it looks pretty good. My reading weekend is off to a great start. I just finished The Golden Couple, and this book is definitely more of a mystery, light suspense. The therapist is the detective in this case who is investigating, and she's also got her own side plot, and that actually brings me to kind of my main, not really issue, but main observation about this book, is that there are a lot of side plots or red herrings or whatever you want to call them, basically all these different threads of people, information, history. There's a past murder going on, there's infidelity, there's 5 to 6 characters all keeping secrets, and I think that with the pacing of the unveiling of the story, it did seem like it tied up maybe like 80% of those threads in like one page, while only delving into the main other threads. What I'm trying to kind of convey is that they had a lot of loose threads that they immediately tied up. The twist was unexpected, but in a way that didn't feel satisfying. It just felt kind of like, okay, here we go again. And I think if you read enough from these two authors, you might even be able to tell exactly what the plot is going into this. So I think that's my main gripe with this book. I think this is definitely fun. Maybe not the best mystery suspense you'll ever read, but if you want something that will capture your attention for an extended period of time, let's say, this I would classify as like an airplane book where you want to sit down, read for 3 hours and forget about the world, I'd recommend this. So maybe 4 stars. And I am super excited to start Burn For Me. It's been way too long since I've read this book, but I do remember that the plot, the romance, everything about this series was just so addicting. I read through this book and the series pretty quickly the first time around, so I don't think I got a full understanding of the entire magic system or how the world is set up in this series. So I want to take my time and get to know everyone. I'm just having such a good reading weekend so far. I'm super excited. I've been up since about 7 and it's currently 10. I've gotten quite a few errands done, which is great. I just have a couple of more and then I'm going to continue the book I started last night, Burn For Me. One thing I didn't remember is that the magical powers started because scientists discovered this serum that unlocks each person's individual magical potential, and slowly over time what became important wasn't money in society, but rather how powerful you were in terms of magic. Families started forming based on magical abilities, that turned into dynasties, and then these big families started owning and controlling the world. And so the main character, Nevada, is an investigator who works for like her small private family business, and she was recently bought out by this larger corporation and they want her to go track down this leader of this motorcycle gang. So that's where we're at right now. Ooh, I'm feeling kind of tired, a little bit wiped out right now. Honestly, I really just want to sit down, relax, chill out a bit. It's been quite a hectic morning. So I forgot that this book is set in Houston, and we love that because I lived in Houston for a while, but I'm reading this one line where Nevada has met up with Mad Rogan, who is one of the most powerful magic users like in history ever, and they met up, created a partnership to capture the guy that Nevada's after, and they're going to meet one of Nevada's freelancers that she employs, and the security person said, "Getting into the pit is easy, getting out is hard. Welcome to the anal sore of Houston." So love that. Didn't know that Houston had an anal sore part. Just a little fun tidbit from the Hidden Legacy series. I just finished Burn For Me, and I definitely forgot a lot of the plot and character details of the book. What I think really captured me originally about this whole series is that it's so action-packed. Literally every 30 to 40 pages something flashy happens, somebody, you know, does something with their powers, some battle happens, and definitely the plot is just beginning. In the epilogue, you get a little sneak peek to, you know, bigger bad forces happening behind the scenes that you'll uncover in the rest of the series. And I think the complexity of the magic and the households and how that ties into a more modern landscape of, you know, being in Houston is really cool. For urban fantasies, one thing that's always a hit or miss for me is the actual romance. And with this book, I think if it was more romance focused, I would not love it as much. But the romance is quite woven into the plot development, and these two start on the more enemies side, which is one of my favorite tropes, enemies to lovers, so I think that's why this appeals to me more. And I'm really excited to get to the next one, which I think is White Hot. It's the blue cover one. For now, I'm gonna go do some painting. I got some paint supplies for this paint night I did with some friends, and I've been looking to kind of spruce up my place with a few more artworks, art pieces. I'm definitely not the best painter, but it's super relaxing just to focus on painting and listen to an audiobook. So I'm gonna go do that now. And here we have dinner for Saturday night. Some good old-fashioned fried rice. Old reliable recipe. I like to call fried rice my everything but the kitchen sink dish because it's literally just leftover vegetables, leftover rice, and then a protein if I have it, but I always have to have egg. A simple gal when it comes to skincare. You'll see that I like to stick with the same brands because I know very little about skincare. This weekend's theme is pretty much treat yourself. So I'm going to be doing a face mask, and it's supposed to be a black sheet mask, but then it foams up to look like this. Gotta give it a good little massage first. Ooh, see, it's already foaming up. Honestly, this mask doesn't feel great on the hand. It's very slimy. So just a little bit scary. I don't know if it's noticeable, but it's actually getting foamier. Alright, mask is off, face is washed. The rest of my routine is pretty simple. A couple of nights a week I'll use this retinol from The Ordinary, and then I followed it up with the CeraVe Daily Moisturizing Lotion. Again, as you'll notice, I do stick with brands. Basically everything I have is CeraVe and The Ordinary. Alright, that's my skincare routine for the night. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Good morning, it's a new day, and last night I got 150 pages into White Hot. These covers are very intense. So first book we left off, Nevada and Mad Rogan had basically worked together on this mission. It's basically semi-wrapped up, but there's a bigger plot. that is brewing in the background and is starting to develop. The status of their romantic relationship, TBD, because Madrogen keeps communicating that he only wants a sexual relationship, but Nevada is not interested. But she's also having doubts now about whether Madrogen actually is expressing what he actually feels, because he, surprise, has PTSD from being in the military and being forced to be used as a literal human weapon. So we're exploring more of that in the first even 150 pages of this book, and I think that it's really adding dimension to their relationship as well as to Connor Madrogen, the character, because he could come off very douchey alpha male, and he does a lot of the times, don't get me wrong, but Nevada, even though she does have an attraction to Madrogen and she acknowledges it, she respects herself, her work, her ambitions, and her family too much to just throw everything aside and get together with him, even though he's literally offering the world to her because he has money and power. If you like strong, witty female protagonists, I think this book is really great for that. And the plot is starting to thicken. I definitely remember more of the second book's plot threads than the first, and they're slowly starting to come back to me as I'm starting to read this, and I will keep y'all updated when I probably finish this book. And for lunch today, a simple chicken pasta. The meals are definitely getting less aesthetic as the weekend goes on, but it's comforting, and I am ready to dig in. It's so hot outside right now. I stepped out for maybe 1 second and instant regret. But you know what else is hot? White Hot, which I just finished. That was terrible. We're not going to talk about it. This one, I think, is the one that I remember the most details from, especially the ending, the way the conflict resolved itself, and the different plot points. A lot is developed, a lot of questions are answered, and it only spawns more in the conclusion for Wildfire. So I'm gonna tackle this one next. I'm excited. This has definitely been everything that I've wanted it to be, just a relaxing reread in a world that I know I can trust. I'm more scared of what to pick next because I feel like I'm teetering on the reading slump side, but I might choose something literary. I'm feeling like I want something with a lot of meaning, something lyrical. All right, on to Wildfire. It's been a couple of hours and I've been pretty busy painting. I've been wanting to add more art to my apartment, and I guess today was the day. So I painted 3 additional paintings to the one I did yesterday, and this is what they ended up looking like. I may hate them later. For now, they look okay, I think. They look as good as they're going to look. While I was painting, I found an audiobook version of Wildfire, and I am 50%, it won't focus, but I'm 50% of the way through. The twang, the accent from the narrator is really throwing me off, especially when it comes to Madrogen Connor. He, in my head, never sounded country or Texan. It's weird. It's off-putting. I don't like it. I think it's kind of ruining the image I have of Connor in my head. But other than that, the book is going great. A lot of action as usual, and a lot of plot points that I thought happened later in the book actually happened right at the beginning, so I don't know how this is gonna end. Honestly, I have no idea what's gonna happen. I have a huge mess to clean up and more of the book to read, so let's get to it. It's Monday, the weekend's passed, and I've just finished Wildfire. This one took me a little longer. I was listening to basically all of it through audio, and then when I tried to pick it up just by the book, it was kind of weird. I don't know, so I just listened to the entire thing by audio when I had the chance. And I think there was a reason why the second book stands out to me the most. The intensity and complexity of the plot in the second book is probably the best out of the entire series. For example, this one, you basically know everything that's going to be happening, even though there is like a new investigative plot that Nevada has to solve. What they're really after has already been laid in stones in the previous two books, and it's really just seeing this battle play out, which isn't really surprising. It's fun to read about, of course. Battle sequences are always exciting and full of action. The romance also kind of peters out because once these two have kind of gotten together and agreed that they are a thing, the whole I'm an alpha dynamic versus the I'm an independent woman dynamic doesn't really hold as much tension as it did before, and that's just inevitable. So this weekend was absolutely lovely, a great reading weekend. I finished 4 books and reread one of my favorite urban fantasy romance series that I haven't read in about 2 or 3 years. I haven't been rating the trilogy. I think the first book I would give 4 stars. Second book I'd give 5 stars, and this book teeters at 3.5 to 4. Thanks for joining me for another reading weekend. If you want to find me on other places on the internet, I have my Goodreads and Instagram all linked in the description. I often can't decide what kind of theme vlogs I want to do, so if you have some suggestions, please leave them in the comments. Alright, I'll see y'all next time.